invitation and tell us something more about the topic of Industry 5.0 and zero waste in logistics. And I feel honored to welcome all the chambers of commerce for taking a key part on this event. I'm sure that you will all feel enriched of the knowledge after complete this event, and I welcome you all once again to the webinar. I hope you will have a great time, and I pass the word to Majka Beritová, the Director of Austriac Slovak Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. Majka, hlas nám nejako vypadol.
I hope now you can hear me. So
Thank you.
Everyone, hope everything is on your side and the connection is stable. In the name of Slovak Austrian Chamber of Commerce, I would like to welcome you to this webinar where we are going to learn more about Industry 5.0 zero waste in logistics and supply chain. Now I would like to thank to Hispanic Slovak Chamber of Commerce for the organization of today's session and also for the cooperation. And now I give the floor to Mr. Michal Rada. Thank you very much.
Thank you, both of you, for invitation. And I would like to thank all participants for taking part in this event, because I think it will be enriching you, and I hope so. And you have to enable me to share my screens because there has to be some modification at the moment. So please allow me to share. And okay, I'm there. And I hope that you will enjoy the presentation together with me. The presentation is called Zero Waste Logistics. And why it's connected to Industry 5.0, because generally the logistics in Industry 5.0 is zero waste logistics. So we are speaking about the same. My name is Majka Rada. I am human. And I'm the founder of Industry 5.0. And before I start, let me ask you two questions. The first one is who we are, because in our lives, we are collecting many titles. We are managers, presidents, chairmen. We are students, producers, teachers, fathers and mothers. We collect many titles. But with every new one, we are forgetting one. We are human beings, living ones, not like this man on County Art of Pilsen Brewery. And if we do realize who we are, let me ask you the second question, where we live. Because we are living in beautiful cities like Rublev, like Pilsen, Paris, Brussels. We are living in beautiful cities which we fill with trash. We work in factories which produce in one day more trash than a city in a month. We produce products which frequently before reaching the end user become trash as well. We store them in big metal houses filled with air, and we call for more to be built because we do not have enough space. And at the end of our shift, we go next to the output of our production and arrive home, and maybe we will realize that something, what was called food before, it's called bio-waste today. And we look at the red sky above our heads and we ask ourselves, where do we live? Let me answer this question to you. I was born on a December 24, 1971. At that time, our planet was called blue marble. But in 2019, it was not blue anymore. It was covered with smoke and environmental damage. And then something very strange happened. For many people in the world, they saw the blue sky again for the first time in their life. Not because they changed their behavior, but because a COVID virus came and locked people down. We are living on a planet around which we have been able in few decades to create a global landfill on the orbit with 170 million pieces of space debris, space trash. These pieces are smaller than 10 centimeters. But you have to add another 870,000 of 10 to 30 centimeters and 80,000 above 30 centimeters. These are not just thought numbers which I came with. This is NASA delivered, the US Space Agency, these calculations and these images. And what we do to the planet itself, we dig inside, hunting for only criteria of success, which is more, no matter what. More money, more people, more companies, more cars, more homes, more. Ask Fortune 500 how they make their 500 ladder. Ask Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Ask the others, what is the criteria of success? And we don't care. We are living here together with 7.9 to 5 billion people, not knowing that 200 years ago, there was the first global counting, 1812. There came only 1 billion people. 100 years later, 1912, came next global counting, and there came to 1.5, which means in the last 100 years, more than 5 times more people are living on the planet. And some prediction says that in 2050, it should be 11 billion people. Let me just remind you that the last increase was despite of 2 world wars and 2 world pandemics, in which we are living at the moment. We are living here in 206 countries. According to UN 197, we are speaking 7,000 languages. We are riding 1 billion cars. And on the same planet, we let every year to die 9 million people hungry, despite the fact that we are throwing away 23.6 million tons of food and crop every single day. We let 800,000 people die thirsty, despite the fact that only California crude oil industry is consuming 347 million liters drinking water every single day. We are planting our food to throw it away because the leaves are not green enough for the buyer in a chain store. This is the reality in which we are living. We put our overproduction on a landfill and on the rivers, not to spoil the market price. We carry our water in firefighting tanks, not knowing that the same amount of water is needed to produce just one and simple hamburger. And we do it on a planet on which 1 sip of water can save not 1, but 2 lives. We are storing our packaging on a parking lot for employees, waiting until it became waste. We are having walls in our factories full with environmental certificates, and behind the walls, the same factory is creating a landfill. We are throwing away goods which are not good for one because of the QC control, but can serve hundreds and thousands of others. And all that we are doing under the supervision of World Bank, which says that till 2050, the waste volume should grow. In some destination, it should double. The same report says that almost everything can be reused or repurposed, but in fact, only 13.5% is being reused and repurposed. This is why the waste industry became the 3rd most profitable industry in the world, just after the war industry and the crude oil industry. But it looks like, because of the troubles of the crude oil industry, that the waste industry will become second. So if this will happen, we will live on a planet in which war and waste will be the most profitable businesses. But I started a thing, Industry 5.0, which changed these, and it's already changing. Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man. It's not a revolution. It's based on the principles of systematic waste prevention, industrial upcycling, and it recognizes 4 types of waste, which is a very important point. The first is physical waste. This is something what you throw away in a garbage bins. The second is a social waste. These are people limited in the possibility to live meaningful lives. It's urban waste, unneeded factories, unneeded warehouses, so as brownfields, which are existing already but not used, and process waste, which is in every factory, every company I entered, even in a bank, there's a lot of process waste. And all these wastes can be prevented. And this is what I would like to introduce you to. And what is logistics? If we look at Wikipedia, logistics is detailed organization and implementation of complex operations. In a general business sense, logistics is a management and of the flow of the things between the point of origin and the point of consumption to meet the requirements of the customer or corporations or markets, I have to add. The resources are managed in logistics include tangible goods, such as materials, equipment, supplies, as well as food and other consumable items. And what is missing in the Wikipedia is this sentence: logistic is overview. It's a bare view. And if it's so, if you understand logistic the same way as I do, then please answer me following question. Why do logisticians become firefighters who fight one fire by setting up the next one? You may ask what I have to do with logistics. Generally, I started my career as a steel factory worker in 1990s. But in 93, I joined one of the largest logistic companies in the world, Schenker. In 2008, I was the only non-Japanese senior member in a second largest Japanese corporation in their logistic division. But in 2013, I decided to go away and started a new journey, meaningful journey. And I started to build Wasteless World because there was nobody at the time who prevent waste happen on industrial scale. And in 2014, I begin my education journey, starting with sharing the information with clients of Logistics Academy, the best logistic education center in Czech Republic. And this is one of the reasons why I was called for delivering today's webinar, because only the Logistic Academy in Czech Republic is the only one in Czech Republic, and I think in Europe and maybe in the world, who since 2014 already is delivering information about zero waste logistics, about waste prevention. In 2015, I found Industry 5.0. It was on December 1st, 2015. And it started by one article called From Virtual to Physical. You can find it online. In 2021, European Commission included Industry 5.0 in their Sustainable Development Framework. And I started with a global expansion. And in 2022, at the moment, I have 94 Industry 5.0 ambassadors in 94 countries all over the globe. We have made one big mistake in the past. We have trusted that the future can be built on a top of a pyramid, waste pyramid. But have you ever tried to stay on the top of a pyramid? It's a very unstable point. So how do you want to build your future on it? And I recognized a decade ago, and I started to look and to build new groundstone, and this groundstone look like this. It's much more stable, and even if the world shake, you can build a future on it again and again. And it consists of 3 more R's. And how does it work? Let me show you an example from a factory. Firstly, you have to recognize that something must not become waste, and trust me, that's very difficult. It is difficult because of so-called professional blindness. Professional blindness make following. You don't see alternatives. You do your work, but you don't see alternatives. And if you throw away something in a garbage, trust me, it's very hard to understand that this must not be the garbage. But it is like so, it must not be wasted. And if you realize this and you recognize, then you can do the second step. And this is even harder. Because if you saw it as a waste before, it's really hard to erase this image in your head and start to reconsider what to do with it. But then the third point is the reward, because you realize you may fail for the first, second, third, 10 times, but one day you succeed. And at this moment of this success, you start to change the world. I have here a plastic bottle, single-use one, but who prohibit to you to refill it? Probably nobody. And if you refill it, it's no more single-use, it's no more useless. No, you can use it again. And if not filled with a drink for you, you can fill it and with the drinking for your flowers or for your animal, for your dog. It must not be thrown away after one and single use, but we will come to this point. So I have promised to deliver to you some of the case studies. So here they are. One of them, did you know that these cable drums, so-called used cable drums, they are cables on it originally. They are used ones, which are here behind me. These used cable drums are used as a single way packaging. There is nothing wrong with it after the single use, because you store them usually under the roof in the warehouses, you manage them in the warehouses, and at the end, you put it away only if you throw it on a garbage. But for 3 years, we are realizing a project which stop wasting these single-use cable drums. And it is great because we can deliver it to next factory to be used again. And we have started in Czech Republic. Right now, the benefits, we are doing it in Austria, and we are starting in Germany. So it is the way how to expand. And why somebody should join? Because you eliminate your cost for scrapping and wasting of this, and this is not cheap because it's a combined material. Secondary, you have no block of the place for you. They are not cost related. And the third one, the consumer, the company who is buying that, is buying it because they have a cheaper income. And this is exactly what we do. Or if you change the layout of your warehouse, you have a racking systems, which frequently, unfortunately, become waste as well. Why? You don't have to sell it for the price of steel, because you can reuse it, utilize it, maybe different way, but it can be done. Do you recognize what these are the edge corners from the cardboard to protect the cargo. If you put it on a pallet, you give it on the top, and then you put it belt over it so that you damage the goods. And these are usually single use. But why? They don't have to be a single use, because you can use it yourself again in your factory, or you can provide it to your supplier who used it before, or somebody else. Or you have the belts which are used for fixing the cargo inside the containers. Again, these belts are used a single time. Why? Because you do not have access to the original shipper. It doesn't matter, you can ship it another way. You can use it another way. Here you see, I use it for my chair. And do you remember the radish which I showed you before, which has been thrown away in a garbage because the leaves has not been green enough? I cut the leaves away. And then I made something out of it. I bake it. I make smoothie out of it, which has wonderful color. And then we stop it completely to be wasted, and we find a solution how to utilize what was once rejected because the leaves has not been green enough. And I think almost every one of you use stretch foil for fixing the cargo on a pallet. But why? It's not needed. I don't know whether you will see the video or not, but generally I can share the video after. Here it's a video how I use so-called FixLog 1 solution for fixing the cargo on a pallet. And this is a returnable solution, which you can use up to 1,000 times, again and again and again. And I have clients which use it for 10,000 times, which means this client for the 10,000 times did not use a stretch foil, saving a lot of the plastic. But there are other case studies because, you know, I am almost all my time, 4 days of 5, I am in factories, in boiler suit, working with the workers and delivering results for the owners of the companies, for the CEOs, and many others. So many call me because they have a growing transportation cost. Increasing tendency is there, but very few consider to improve the loading efficiency. They speak about only the loading on the floor of the truck, but what about the space? There is a lot of, and sometimes less means more, but you know, we do not have the time right now to explain, but in average, we are able to save minimum 25% on improved utilization of the truck or warehouse. And there are, of course, a big packaging losses because you can quite well pay with the Euro pallet. And then you get a penalty because if you do not deliver on the right packaging, you get a penalty from your client. Especially automotive is very sensitive to this. But why not to improve the returnable packaging transportation management? It's not so hard. It can be done with Excel. And of course, rules and regulations. But there you can save 75%. And many of people came to me and say, Mr. Rada, we would like to reduce or increase our warehousing space, but it's too expensive. Did you know that you can move 3,000 square meters warehouse to 300? You can do it. Just you have to see the things slightly different. And that's the ability of Industry 5.0. That's the ability of myself, because you have seen the rich experience. The transportation efficiency. There are more and more people who already learned what means milk run, but there are many who never heard this. Milk run is a system in which the truck is never empty. All the time is something, it has something to carry. And what is very interesting, to set up a milk run, not for just or with what just with one client or one supplier, but to include more on the way. It's complicated, but it can be done. And even I have clients which are in one industrial park and they join together because they have their clients in one industrial park in another country. And that was very interesting project. And again, you can save up to 50%. And of course, there is the waste, means the physical waste, which you store in the packaging, in the garbage bins and containers, and you wait for the waste company to come to pick it up, and you pay a lot of money for that. Why not to prevent waste happen? There is only one question which I'm asking the CEOs if they invite me. Do you want to generate waste or profit? It is interesting, there is nothing in between. And of course, there is the manpower, which is nowadays a very sensitive issue. In the US, many people just leave because they recognize the work is not meaningful. And this is what you have to deliver to your people. They will not stay for €1 more, but they will stay if they deliver meaningful work. And this is the difference what Industry 5.0 deliver. How is the logistics in Industry 5.0? Please understand. There is no logistic 1.2, 2.2, 3.4, or 5.0. No, there is logistics. That's all. Because logistics is the same. It's a flow. It's an overview. It's efficiency. And if you increase the efficiency, you decrease the cost significantly, and you decrease all the negative impacts. Because there should be not many, but one supply chain. If you remember, I have mentioned that there is There are 23.6 million tons of food and crop wasted every single day in the world. And we let 9 million people die hungry. So what it is, it's just a wrong logistic. As the president of Czech Logistic Academy says, Mr. Rada, we just have to good things on the right place. And what it is, it's just the logistics. And transparency. Every time when I enter a company, especially the big ones, they ask me to sign NDA first. I do. But with NDA and lack of transparency, how do you want to improve? You should share your data information. There can be one supply chain manager for several companies in a supply chain. Because if you will do this way, you will find out that it's very interesting because one man is responsible for more. And even if each of the players give him just share of his original salary, at the end, he will have more money and he will have more interest to that the entire supply chain is working. There should be cooperation instead of competition. And single use, please never forget that single use is a system fail. There should be a direct responsibility of every single member. And if there is a member which does not add any value, why is he a member of a supply chain? That has to be asked as well. You have to harmonize the processes in industries locations and don't hesitate to contact another industrial player. It does not mean that if you are producing cars, the second is producing glass and the third is butcher. Do you know what connects you all? Europallet. So simple it is. And there is much more, of course. And there is a new trend. It's called glocalization. So not global, but you will get local and you will face it in very short time, no matter in which industry you are working. Generally, the technology should serve, but not rule, but we are trying, or somebody is trying to push up in a way that we should let everything to be done by artificial intelligence. It's not right. Be very careful about this. Many companies measure the speed of the movement of their people in the warehouses or distribution centers. Speed is not a KPI, not a logistic. There will be in a few years, all of us, we will see airships again on the sky. The biggest one currently developed in Russia should carry 600 tons. And just imagine how will change your supply chain if not truck with 20 tons, but something with 600 tons will enter and carry your cargo away. I'm sure you can imagine. 2D to 3D does not mean a 3D printer, but generally you should not see only the floor, see the entire building, because many of you are working in a factories in a buildings which are built as a universal buildings with a height of 8, 10, 12 meters, but your goods are in a height of 2.5 meters for the people to reach it. What about the rest? This, you are wasting a lot of energy and money for heating the remaining place. We have to learn to utilize the existing, in Industry 5.0, we call the on-the-ground mines, and it does not mean only utilizing the crude oil or whatever. It can be utilizing the cars better. It can be utilizing the manpower. It can be utilizing the space, wind power, whatever. It can be a lot of. And of course, the 3D printing, it's a very interesting. But do you realize that this is a methodology which was used about, I don't know, 5,000 years ago? Because ceramics has been done exactly the same way, just the machine was not there. So we have to use all materials, but with new systems. And we have to add 3D scanning, not just to scan in a reverse engineering, but to scan the environment for environmental mapping. And there are very interesting projects running at the moment. And of course, the on-the-ground mines delivery system must be set up to have enough place, but not have it on a wrong place. Every non-value added operation, which is storage, for example, is non-value added. So it's cost. So why should I be happy that we have more warehouses built in my country, in Czech Republic? That's not the criteria of success, but of failure. Because 99% of factories which I enter does not use their space efficiently, especially in the warehouses. And advanced planning systems, it's something what exists here and can predict the sales in a retail chain store, for example, with the accuracy up to 98%. Because using data and analyzing big volume data, why we are not using it properly? Digital twins, there are many. The workshop for logistic innovation, which is run at Logistic Academy, took 2 days. Permanent 2 days. So what are the rules of logistics? It is interesting because these rules has been set up in almost the same time like the rules of economy, politics, science, mathematics, physics, law. But they are outdated because they has been created at a time when there was no computers, there was no these advanced technologies. But at the moment we follow old rules, but we are living in very different times. And we should learn and we should utilize, and if the laws cannot be so speedy as we need, let's change the rules and laws. Because I don't think that just in time or just in sequence is the top of logistics. There is much more which can be done. And why should I ask 5 times why, which is generally a Japanese way, when I can spend my time to think deeply about the question and ask just one and single time. I do not want to waste anyone's time. This is why question is very important for me. And I hope after this, there will be a time for questions, and you can put your questions in a chat or you can ask them live after I finish. And I'm looking forward to your questions. And please do understand that logistics is a permanent evolution. It's a logic of life, but not framing the life. It's said, but I have to spend 8 years to develop and write wasteless legal framework, the first waste prevention policy in human history. I spent 8 years to do so. 8 years in which I develop its principles in factories. And how does it sound? Nothing that can be used or utilized again must become waste. Everything must be considered as a primary pre-waste existing resource and remain in the system. The secondary use or utilization is not limited to primary function of a product or material and can be executed by everyone, respecting the rules and regulations and safety conditions. And please understand, collecting, sorting, baling, trade, and transportation are not being considered anymore secondary utilization. And if not utilized on a primary location, it must be offered to others before being wasted. And dear ladies and gentlemen, please understand one. There is no waste if we do not waste. What may sound strange to you, that not a single legislation in the world, not a single one, define process how waste is being created. This process is called wasting. And wasting is the process in which product or material of any kind and volume become waste. Wasting is a system failure and must be prevented first without any limitation or legal restrictions. And please remember following. Wasting is not a feature of a product or material. It is the result of human behavior. And single use is one of the most common ways of wasting. So many people ask me in almost 500 workshops and webinars I had. Is there any value of waste prevention? Why should we prevent waste happen? We spent 5 years to calculate a number which we have been requested. And in 2019, we introduced this number, 475 trillion US dollars a year. It's a value, estimated value, or was estimated value of systematic waste prevention. War industry not included, crude oil industry not included, and waste industry not included, because these three did not give us data. But even without the third three most profitable industries in the world, we are speaking about 8-time global GDP, which can be prevented from being wasted. Isn't there a share for you? I see it is. And what is interesting, in comparison to Industry 4.0, you do not have to invest first. You just change your approach. And this is a very different way. This is the reason why Industry 4.0 is not so far as Industry 5.0 in shorter time. Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man. It's a new mindset of people and businesses, from wasteful to wasteless. It's delivered the results without the need of capital investment, and is based on the principles of systematic waste prevention, industrial upcycling. And it utilizes the rich on-the-ground mind, which I described. And it's based on transparency, profit sharing, and efficiency. And please do understand, Industry 5.0 is not a sales tool or a buzzword, or a machine, or a technology, or artificial intelligence. No. It's the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the times of digitalization of our work. Our children are living in the years of digitalization of our education. And we all are living in a time when our leisure time was digitalized a long time ago. So it looks like that there is only one point missing to finish the complexity. And it is to digitalize the human being. But if we do so, our home will look like this, and this is not a mistake, because data don't need any light. I realized this danger a decade ago, and I decided to build another world, wasteless world, the home for which I am proud, and the home which I will hand over to others. Right now is your decision whether in which world you would like to live and which world you would like to hand over to other generations. With Industry 5.0, we have started on January 1st, project called 17, because I don't know whether you realize it, but there is something which needs just 17 months to turn everything what humans created upside down. This something is virus, brainless, but so powerful that it locks entire globe and all the people living on it under lock. And I don't think that humans are worse than a virus. And I think if we start to prevent what has happened together, all of us, we will be able in 17 months not only recover the society, economy, industry, and ecosystem, but we will be able to see wasteless world for all. My name is Mike Rada. I am human. And don't worry, I'm not alone. There are 94 ambassadors in 94 countries, sharing, delivering, helping the implementation up to the governmental level, because Industry 5.0 was already on October 19th, 2021, discussed on board of United Nations. We are covering 85% of global population. And right now it's time for you to decide in which world do you want to live. And right now is the right time for you to say, okay, we have a question, may we ask? Because this is the end of my presentation. And I would like to ask you, are there any questions? If so, please, you can write it into the chat. Let me put in a chat as well my LinkedIn profile, because I do suggest everyone who would like to connect with me to use the LinkedIn as a first instance. Send me your invite, please, because it's for me the easiest way, and we use LinkedIn really efficiently and on a big scale, and this is the best way to reach me. But you will be given right now. I put it in a link, and you will be given the recording of this webinar. Okay, there is one question. Please, what do you think about electric car? I love this question because I receive it many times, and you don't know, I did not mention one thing. For 7 years, I am not using my car, but I'm riding to my work on electric unicycle device, which is a size of cabin luggage, but can go up to 50 kilometers in a speed and 100 kilometers on a single charge. I even propose to automotive industry to utilize this technology in a webinar. Right now, to your question, electric car itself, it's a good thing, but a petrol car, it's not a bad thing. What makes bad and what is really dangerous is the disbalance, which is right now created by the push on electric, saying that electric car is best for everything. That's not true, because electric car is good for something, but the petrol will be good for another one. We have to create balance, not disbalance. When I spoke about the electric unicycle, I was participating on a hackathon of clean transportation in 2017. And I proposed that this device, which I'm riding on, it's so strong that it can push even a truck. It has 3,000 watt engine. So don't think they are just toys. And I propose a project called Power Enjoy, where you have this device in a trunk of your car. And when you come with a petrol car to a city with a clean zone, you take it out, you just plug it behind your car and it will push you. And if you do not want to be pushed through the city, let's ride it. I do it every single day because it improved my body core. So my answer again, electric cars are good if there will be set up in a balance with all the remainings. I don't know how many of you knows that in the 1910, there was more electric cars than petrol cars in the world. That's just a thing. And what is interesting, if you look on YouTube, some of the old videos, you will see that the exchange of the battery took just 20 minutes at that time. Today, we can do it much faster. We don't even have to charge. Okay, the next question. Which countries do you think contribute more to the wasted world? Developed ones. I am sorry, I have to say it. I have over 100 speeches and projects in India, in Bangladesh, in Ghana, in countries which are called underdeveloped. Their industries are much better than our own industries in an old continent or in the US. What is the worst? One of the worst and the biggest crime against the planet is the carbon emission trading, because there nothing happened with the smoke. In fact, it's not an ecological tool, it's an economical. There is a lot of money inside, but the smoke does not disappear. Generally, you prepaid for doing evil. And I have to say it. And when I was to say it on a COP, I was not permitted. My speech was prohibited. because it's true. So unfortunately, more wasteful are advanced countries. I'm sorry to say that, because we have learned that we can buy something again and again and again and throw it away. This is why we crash this bottle instead of filling it again. And I'm happy to hear that some of the drink producers consider already the returnable skin and even consider the return of the glass bottles. Of course, from me, because I am designing efficient packaging time to time as well, I am trying that all packaging is collapsible. And you can look on a project called Foldy, if I'm not sure. It's generally a Bulgarian startup which make a bottle collapsible, but not do all the way, new way, very interesting way as an origami. And I do recommend it to everyone. I can send to everyone a link if you connect with me. So the next question, how Industry 5.0 got its name? Many things that it's just a mistake by me, no. I started with my work in 2013, and I was delivering systematic waste prevention under the name of a methodology called industrial upcycling, which again, I came with this name. And it was my clients who told me 1.5 years later, Mr. Rada, that's not a methodology. You have created new industry. And because it was not one, but many of the clients saying the same, I said, okay, but we need a name to this industry. And I was analyzing the industry 1 to 4 and so on. And I realized that all of them, 1 to 4, represent industrial revolutions. But you know what? Every next one was much shorter than the previous one. So the first one, I think 126 years, the next one 80 years. So generally almost half. And I realize that revolution can change very fast. If you pay more to the soldiers, they will shoot for you, except of the enemy. And the revolution is connected to death. But I don't deliver death. But I know as well that industries do understand the name industry, and they will understand the number 5 as the next step, which it is. But it's not the follow-up of Industry 4.0 or extension. No. I am the first one who named the principles. I am the one who owned the intellectual property for the name. And I can say that if somebody tells you that it is more technology or machine and human, no, it's not. Not in a way how they are trying to use it. They are just trying to use it as a sales tool. I don't permit this. And I have the right, and there are already academic and scientific papers related to my work, naming the date. So Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution. And do you know who is the role model? It's nature. It's not Elon Musk. It's not BlackRock. No, it's nature, because nature does not waste. So simple it is. And there is next question. Are you also dealing with legislative barriers to waste minimization? That's a nice question. Thank you for that. Yes and no. I am all the time in a frame of the legislation in all the countries, but I am using the gaps which are included in the legislations as well. And I will show you something which will surprise you. Usually I use my business card to show it, but I'm not right now in my office. So let me use this small book. Imagine that this is my business card, okay? So, and we meet for the first time. I am used to give you my business card, you take it, everything is fine. And just now, let me show you one very strange thing. Erase this memory that we met already, and let's meet again. And there is one difference. Between me and you, we came together, and in the middle, there is a garbage bin. Don't ask why. It's a new, shiny stainless steel a garbage bin. And as I came to you, I fall down and my business card fall in the garbage bin. I apologize with you because I do not have any second one, which usually does not happen, but let's say it can happen. So both of us look inside and you say, okay, it's empty. I will take the business card. So I take it out, I check it again, hand it over to you, and just now imagine a very interesting point. If you take this business card from me in Czech Republic as a representing your business or your company, you take with it a right on a penalty of 20,000 euro. That will be the most expensive business card in your life. And just now the interesting point. What is waste? Because many people do not understand what is waste. And if you look in your local legislation, you will find out, for example, following sentence. Waste is something what you would like to get rid of. That's all. There is nothing about whether you speak about new things, you're reusable, whether living or death. If my wife would like to get rid of me and get divorced, I will become waste according to this legislation. I'm not joking, it's a reality. But there is a second one. Waste is something which you place or locate on a location dedicated to waste storage. And this is what is interesting. Imagine here in my hand, this is the edge of the garbage bin. Okay, here is the business card. Here is a business card. Here is a garbage. You see, nothing happened with it. So Industry 5.0 deal with systematic waste prevention. To prevent waste happen means you do not break any law or legislation. You just don't create it. You don't put it on a place dedicated to waste storage. Of course, there are exceptions, but very few. Trust me, I'm doing that for 9 years. And I deal with almost every segment in the world. And I implement Industry 5.0 even in banks. I educate on universities, more than 170 universities in the world. I was able to deliver my keynotes and work with the company. So you see, I don't do it. I don't work with waste. I'm not a waste company. And Industry 5.0 is not a waste process. No. It's waste prevention. And this is what the legislation does not thought about. I was taught at the beginning, Mr. Rada, not a single kilo you can prevent in a company. You know what? In 2020, we reached 1 million metric tons of products which has not been prevented. There are about, so next question, there are about 3.6 million tons of food waste, while there are 23.6. Unfortunately, it is so. And I was offering to Elon Musk, he has offered last year that he will give 6 trillion or something, a lot of money, to end up the global hunger. He never kept his promise. And United Nations says, yeah, we would like to have it, but it's not enough. It's not true. It's not enough if we will waste the food and crop, but it is much than enough if we start to prevent waste. So we are doing that. And of course, there will be still waste, but it will be very little. You ask about the waste generally on a plate. This is a very interesting question, because my mother, my grandmother told me all the time, Michael, eat it all what is on plate, don't waste. So in my head was written, food on plate, unfinished food on plate is a lot of waste. But do you know what it makes in a global scale? I was surprised about this. I was preparing our workshops for the second largest hotel chain in the world. So I dig a lot of data. And I have realized that the rest on the plates are just 2%. 2%. 75% of global crop and food never reach a second stage of production. 75%. 5% of what we put water effort in is never produced, does not turn into food. That's unbelievable. And this is the disbalance where somebody say, okay, if we plant this, we will make a bio oil of it. So don't eat it. We will make a bio oil, or we will make whatever. That's wrong. That's the disbalance. Same with the electric cars. So any more questions? It can be even asked on a ask verbally. So don't fear and ask. I love questions and I love ask questions. So if your company invite me, you will receive a lot of questions from me. So any more questions? I even don't know what it's the time. So at the moment, let me check it. Okay, we can run longer. So what do you think about disposable plastics? What is disposable? What is disposable? Because if you look at Wikipedia, you will find out that they don't have an article about single use, but they use instead the word disposable. So if we speak about single use, then my answer is, why should be single use? That's first question, see the bottle. I don't use it as single use, even it's a, but the second one, do you know that, for example, in Czech Republic is a producer which can turn Tetra Pak and single-use packaging into a construction material, certified construction material for buildings? It is here. You can buy the production line right now, right here. And you can make a construction material out of something what was waste before. And this is what I think. So firstly, we have to analyze, is it really a single use? We have to avoid a single use. Let's have a returnable, let's have a reusable. That's not the same. Returnable and reusable, they are different things. And at the end, let's use the technologies which do exist already. And heat compression, for example, is one of the technologies. And let's turn it into a useful product. Because this is the way, this is the on-the-ground mind. The next question, how to change the mind of waste? You cannot change the mind of waste. You can change the mind of people. And just now, I change mind of all of you, every single one. Because not a single one of you will see the world with the same eyes. How I know? Because I made in 10 years over 5,000 speeches. My speeches started the Industry 5.0 age in India. One speech, 1 million follows after, on August 21st, 2020. And I know it, because it does not matter whether you are the manager, senior manager, whether you are unemployed. No. Because you can build wasteless world. I don't tell you how your wasteless world will look like. It's you to know. But I can tell you 3 things. Which will be present. Shining sun and clear air. Blue water, clean water. And the smiling faces of people you love. These 3 things will be in your wasteless world image, and I am sure. And not a single one of you would prefer to live on a landfill. And right now you have the chance to change this. So please feel free to do so. If you have any question, contact with me. And I will give you the answers, or I will connect you to the ambassadors. We can do it. So that's all for today. There will be some final word from the organizer, Ms. Niemczykova.
Thank you, Mr. Rada, for all this information. It was really interesting, and I hope we will continue with our collaboration and offer more events about these topics. And really thank you for everybody for participant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me finish this with one greeting, which I say all the time at the end.
Please.
Let your time be free of waste and wasting in all its forms, and stay safe. Have a nice day, and I hope I see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I am still here. I have time. So if there is anybody who still have questions and would like to ask on a camera, let's do it. In Czech, English, or even German. Takže jestli se někdo chcete ještě zeptat,
Počkej.
můžete se zeptat.
Ďakujeme, pán Rada. Ja vidím, že tu máme stále ešte nejakých účastníkov. Ak sú nejaké otázky, tak potom kľudne môžete kontaktovať svoju komoru, do ktorej patríte. Samozrejme, poskytnem všetky informácie aj kontakt na pána Radu. Myslím, že sa môžeme všetci rozlúčiť. Ďakujem veľmi pekne. Ja sa s vami ešte spojím, pán Rada. Majte sa. Pekný deň.
A děkuji a krásný den vám všem. Naschledanou.
Jakže nereaguje. To mě se zahmula obrazovka na závěr.
Tady máte mikrofon zapnutý.